Welcome back to day 16 of the Digital Clean Sweep. We've crossed the halfway mark, and today is all about giving your learning management system, whether it's Canvas, Google Classroom, or Schoology, a light refresh while this past school year is still fresh in your mind. Let's be honest, once a course ends, it's easy to hit pause and walk away, but before next year sneaks up on us, let's take just a few minutes to clean things up while we still remember what worked and what didn't. This isn't about a full redesign. It's about setting yourself up for easier planning later. Now, my district uses Canvas, and the courses from the previous year are archived automatically. So I'm going to be walking through my strategy for this quick end-of-year cleanup. If you're not using Canvas, if you're in Google Classroom or Schoology, the description and comments will tell you where to jump to so you can get a couple of quick tips for those learning management systems as well. But for now, let's start with Canvas. When I first started working with Canvas, I was under the impression that the best way to go about this process was to find the course that just completed, export it, and then import it in to a sandbox. And while using a sandbox is important, you can bypass the export-import steps and do this a little bit more efficiently. So I'm going to come down to my sandbox course, which is an unpublished course. It stays unpublished. It's just a working space, and it is empty right now. So I am going to import from existing content. Now I need to select what content I want to bring in. I am going to copy a Canvas course. Now I can click here and scroll down and select from courses that have already completed. So I just need to come back down, find last year, 24-25, and find the course that I want to review. So I'm going to review my social studies course, and I want to bring in all of the content. Now this next step's really important. I want to adjust the events and due dates, and I want to remove all the due dates so that I have complete freedom to set those due dates when the school year begins. So I'm going to add the import to the queue, and it's going to start running. So I'm going to pause here while this runs, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes. If you are also trying to do this cleanup with me and you're in your Canvas LMS, go ahead and get your course copy in motion. This is probably a good place for me to mention that if you use Google Classroom, you can make a copy of your class. And then when you're ready to do your cleanup, you'll just remove items that you don't plan on using next year. If you're using Schoology, you can save course materials to your resources and clean up directly there. Alright, so once the course is completely imported, you're going to get a message here, and you can see it says my course was partially completed and that there was one issue. And I want to point out here that when I used the export-import steps, I actually had over 20 issues where doing it this way, I only have one, and it's the same exact course, same exact material. So I think that's really interesting that not only does this save you time, but it is a cleaner process. So there is just one page where there are some missing links found, and I can click on it and it tells me exactly which one that is. So what I want to do next is to right-click on this View All Pages and open in a new tab, and I'm going to create a page with setup notes for the 25-26 school year. And I'm going to copy this page, the link to that page, and I'm just going to say check for missing links on this page. And then I'm going to just put the web address in there. All right. And I'm going to be keeping this page as kind of a running record of things, notes to myself of things that I want to adjust. So my next steps are to go through assignments, discussions, files especially. These are the things I want to make sure I check. I might check my quizzes. So I'm just going to go through and check these places. And I'm going to start with assignments because I know I have 3 categories of assignments, and I know that I made a shift on the way that I did notebook checks. And I also remember, yep, there was this set of questions here. This got duplicated, and I could not get rid of it last year for some reason. So I couldn't remove the duplicate once it was made. I'm going to click OK. So you might have similar situations to that if you had anything get duplicated that you could not remove either. This notebook page 12, I don't remember why I made that a homework grade instead. So I'm going to make myself a note to reconsider notebook page 12 assignment. I want to take a closer look at that before it comes up to make sure if I have it in the right place or not. Okay. These 2 Liberty kids were also Edpuzzles, and I had assigned them in Edpuzzle a different way. So I need to make sure that Liberty kids 1 and 2 linked with Edpuzzle through what's called the API or LTI process. And if you don't know what that means, you wouldn't type that, but I know what it means. So it's a reminder to myself of what I want to make sure I do next year. Okay. Now, I know that I did notebook checks 2 different ways last year. I tried doing it as an assignment that was annotated and uploads, and then an assignment that was through the quiz feature. And I liked the quiz feature better. So I am going to remove all of the notebook checks, the first 7 notebook checks that I did not use quizzes for. So I'm just going to quickly take care of that. If it can't be done pretty quickly, make yourself a note and address it at the beginning of the school year. We're not aiming for a total overhaul today, just as much quick cleanup as we can do while it's fresh in our brain. And if you don't want to actually take the steps of deleting, moving, and so on, then just make yourself notes. So now that I've removed those, I still need a note to myself to create notebook checks 1 through 7 in quizzes. All right, so again, making myself these notes. I'm just going to hit save here. All right, I think my assessments are all in good shape. Okay, and so the next place you might look would be your discussions. That looks okay. I don't think I need to change anything there. I can look at my pages and view all of my pages. And I see that I did use dates, so I'm probably going to want to make myself a note to adjust the dates. Okay, and then that should be good for that. Files, this might take me a little bit longer. I've got to go through all the different folders and just check, and if there's anything that I can get rid of, or I really like to have common naming conventions. So I won't do this with you while you're here, but I will probably come back and I will rename these 4 files so that they have that common convention. But I also noticed that I've got some things that are tests over here in this folder, and I've got some of them here in the annotated documents. So I need to kind of figure out where those belong and put them in one common place. And then I want to check my other 2 folders as well. So I will go through that. I will make notes, or I will make quick adjustments and renaming or delete files. don't really think I had anything in the studio, and you may not even have the studio feature. So just a quick check will show you that. If you use rubrics, you can glance over your rubrics and make any notes to yourself about your rubrics, any adjustments there. I did some vocabulary practice. I'm going to have to decide if we're going to do vocabulary practice this year. I did not continue it. I discontinued it. All right, so you get the idea of how I'm spending time in here and the kinds of adjustments and notes I'm making to myself. So let me say this once again. This is meant to be a quick glance, not a final draft. You're building a lighter, smarter starting point for next school year. There is one more step we want to take once we've done this quick review. If you teach more than one subject, so if you have more than one Canvas course that you need to do this review for, you are going to want to export this. There's a couple ways you can do that. We can come back to our home page, and from here we will pick our settings, and you can export the course content, or you can share it to the Commons. Either one of those ways will allow you to then bring this course in to your proper course shell once it's created for the new school year. So it doesn't really matter which one you choose, but you'll want to do that and then reset the course content so that it is a blank Canvas shell again, so that you can import in whatever other course needs a quick review. I hope those steps made sense. I'll try to outline them in my notes below so that you'll have that to reference as you are working. Drop a comment. Let me know what learning management system you are using. What does your workflow look like when you're cleaning it up at the end of the year and making notes to help you be ready for the coming year? Let's share tips with each other. And if you're running into any issues, feel free to ask some questions and I will chime in, or maybe someone else in our community will have some suggestions that can help. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow for day 17.